I always wanted to be a soldier. That was my ambition.
I was the only Jewish person that was in my infantry unit that was in Afghanistan.
Jews have served in all conflicts since the Revolutionary War.
I drew the duty as Officer of the Day for Pearl Harbor.
I flew the Black Hawks in Iraq.
When we say 24/7 in a combat zone, it's 24/7.
We were bombed every night.
I went to Korea in 1951. I was a combat medic. I have seen bodies galore.
I got shot down about 40 miles north of Hanoi up near the Chinese border.
Daniel was very, very proud of his Judaism, never hid it, never ashamed of it.
Tim always loved the military.
We flew 2 missions on D-Day. The channel was nothing but boats, ships, everything you could think of, men. So you looked down, you could see it. Our first mission was to blow up anything that would bring in extra supplies for the Germans. Our second mission, we were trying to destroy anything they had that would keep the men from getting on land. And that was very, very exciting to think that we were a part of D-Day. They must have known really that we were coming because they hit us real hard. They hit our number 1 and number 2 engine. The hydraulic system failed. There was flame starting to come into the cabin itself. So we got our chutes on and everybody started to bail out. After floating, which seemed like an hour, I fell to the ground. I knew the Germans were there because we were in the front lines. They put you into a solitary, and you hear noises and beatings and all this. And then after a day of that, they decide you're going to be interrogated. And I went into this room, and it was a young Nazi officer. And he said to me, I know you can be very helpful. He said, because I want to know all about your group. And I said, I can only give you my name, rank, and serial number. And seriously, that's all I really knew. I knew none of our plans because only the commanding officers knew what we were doing. This went on at least 3 times. And on the 4th time, this officer said, German Nazi, said to me, Lieutenant, I know who you are, and I know what you are. When he said that, I knew I was in trouble. He named my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my grammar school, my high school, the jobs that I had. And I'm just sitting there, I said, I don't believe this. And he said, well, you see, you lived in Buffalo, New York, on Claremont Avenue. And my parents lived on Ashland Avenue, which was the next street over. And he said, you were my parents' newspaper boy. And he said to me, I can help you. And I said, I still have nothing I can tell you. And what he did, I found out afterwards, he put a question mark under religion. I ended up in Stalag-Luft number 1. One morning at a roll call, they start calling off names. And suddenly you realize that those were names of Jewish guys. There was about 250 Jewish guys that had been shot down. They put a fence around us, and we could not go from one area to another. But what really saved our lives was our commanding officer, because Colonel Zemke was an incredible man. He was totally respected by the Germans, and Zemke turned to the commanding commandant. And he said to him, these men in this group you have here are all American officers. And if anything happens to any of them, you will become a war criminal. And if you become a war criminal, you are eligible for one thing, and that is to be shot. And he took his finger, and he just like this, and he looked at that German commandant, and he said, you know, I'll be the one to come back, and I'll be the one to kill you, because these are my men. Now, it had an unbelievable effect on them and on us. I'll never forget it. Did it make the commandant change his mind? I can't answer that. But for sure, they did not move us out of the camp.